Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army. And now, ladies and gentlemen,
we are now about to witness the truth.
It's the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Benjamin Dixon Show. I am your host, Benjamin Dixon. It is, what is this? Wednesday, May 18th, 2016. I never know what day it is, mainly because anyway, the days are blurred. I no longer have any loyalty to a political party. None whatsoever. It dawned on me, I don't know. It's been dawning on me slowly but surely over the last 8 months. But I'm done. And I think no one should have loyalty to a party. That doesn't mean you stop supporting whoever you're going to support. What I'm saying is your loyalty in any healthy relationship, your loyalty should go as far as they are loyal to you. Otherwise, it's an abusive relationship. And so right before the show, I got involved in this hashtag. I didn't start it. I thought I started it, but I didn't. Democrats lost me. And the more I started to jot down everything the Democrat Party has done that I disagree with, the more I realized it absolutely makes zero sense for anyone to have an allegiance to a political affiliation if that political affiliation does not have allegiance to what's important to you. That's it. There's really no other way to describe it, explain it. There's no I don't have to justify it. It's not dictated. It doesn't mean that I'm a Republican. It doesn't mean that I'm an independent. It just means that my loyalty and my loyalty in the past, and I don't know about you, my loyalty in the past, I would say prior to 2008 was a very intentional election. Of course, 2012 was an intentional election for me. 2004, I couldn't vote because I got purged from the rolls in Florida. 2000, I voted, and that was my first year old enough to vote. And so I voted, and I voted for Al Gore. But all along, my affiliation has been Democrat because of this perception of they are the lesser of two evils, right? Or it was just an easy identification that I grew up with. But as you start to unpack, and I think that's what this election is doing for a lot of people, people who have been lifelong Democrats are starting to realize that they are only identifying, and Republicans the same, political parties in general. You're simply identifying with a private organization and brand that's able to shift their priorities based on whatever suits them best. And so if their priorities move away from you, how do you look staying loyal to them and they are no longer loyal to what you stand for? That's the question. And I know the answer. You look like a fool. You look like a fool if campaign finance reform is important to you and you see that the Democratic Party has shifted gears and utilizing some of the most nefarious, downright despicable methods of campaign finance, of raising money for their campaigns, fundraising, and justifying it because they're the ones doing it. How could you be loyal to anybody who has sacrificed what you believe on the altar of opportunity? And this is no big revelation, right? This has been a long time coming. And for a lot of folks, you've been voting just because of a part. What good does Unite Blue mean? Please tell me. And I know some people are nervous even with this type of talk. Right? Some people are like, oh, you're going up against the Democratic Party. No, I'm simply saying if they want my vote, then they have to be able to deliver on the issues that are important to me. Otherwise, why the hell am I giving them my vote? If economic disparity is an issue that is pertinent to me, and I see the Democratic Party not only doing nothing to fix the income inequality in America, but justifying those who don't make millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, justifying it by saying they haven't worked hard enough, then what good is it? What do I look like supporting that party? And we have a clear distinction between people who are aligned with the Democratic Party out of allegiance to the name and to the brand, with no allegiance to the ideologies that it espoused that once attracted a lot of people. I had an entirely different menu for you tonight, but this is the top and foremost thing on my mind, and I do want to get you in on the conversation. 857-600-0518. Tweet me at the BPD show. Tell me what you think. At what point did you say the Democratic Party lost you? Because and mind you, this does not, I don't know what I'm going to do in the fall. I don't. I'm still figuring it out. I reserve the right to do two things: make up my own damn mind and change my own damn mind when I damn am ready, please. So what do you think? At what point did the Democratic Party lose you? I want to hear that. And not necessarily, I don't really care what you're going to do in the fall. That's your privacy. That's your private decision. That's what you do, whatever the heck you want to do. But what I want to encourage everyone to lose and shackle your chains of political party affiliations and only be loyal to those who are loyal to issues that are pertinent to you. That's not rocket science. That is very much the way things should be. That's how it should be. Matter of fact, we were talking to Eddie Glaude Jr. last night, Professor Glaude, and he said that we have to have the audacity to imagine something more. I imagine politicians not running after and trying to get endorsements and trying to get the support of a political party, but a political party having to find politicians and having to court politicians based on what that politician stands for. Because for so long we've been sitting at the feet of the Democratic Party, hoping and waiting for them to bring a change to America. And the reality of it is the damn party is doing just fine the way it is. They have no vested interest to make any change. They have no desire to make any change. They want to keep it exactly how it is. They are happy with Wall Street. They're happy with the income inequality. They're happy with the way things are. And yet they still carry the language of populism, the language of intersectionality, the language of race, of anti-racism, but yet they are doing nothing to fix that problem. Okay, let me take this caller. Caller, turn down your volume. You're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
Hello?
Yep, this is you. What's on your mind?
Yeah, this is Scotty from Columbus, Ohio. I called, I think about like a week ago. Yeah, they lost me. I would say the last person I voted for was Barack Obama, and it probably took about like the first term when he started bombing Afghanistan and Pakistan, and it really, I was already starting to itch away from the Democratic Party after they basically balked on the Iraq War, the FISA vote, you name it, NAFTA. I'm actually 30, so I learned about NAFTA when I was in college. But yeah, I also wanted to call because I noticed that there's some people saying that Bernie Sanders didn't really do that good of a job of reaching out to the black community, and you're right about that, but we've got to be honest and say that a lot of the black community was never really going to vote for Bernie Sanders. And part of that is the black Miss Leadership class.
Yeah.
The black Miss Leadership class has basically been you know, it stretches from the church, to the black church, from black radio, the celebrities that supported Hillary Clinton. When you hear that influence over and over again, it's kind of like it's really hard to break that mold. And really, I like the Latino communities actually demanded more of the Democratic Party than the black community has, and really the brand loyalty from the Democratic Party. And this is where I disagree with Glenn Ford of the Black Agenda Report when he says that the black community has traditionally been the most progressive community ever. And not necessarily. On certain issues, and even when it comes to economics, like there's a certain black and nationalist strain when it comes to like, oh, we don't need nothing from the white man, and this, that, and the third. When it comes to government, like social programs, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I even heard like people say like,
let me hold the comment there. I want to get this next caller, and I absolutely agree. That you said a lot, man. You said a lot that I don't even know where to start, but all the way back to what you said, Bernie Sanders was never going to get the black vote. Let me tell you, the black vote Bernie Sanders was never going to get. Bernie Sanders was never going to get the Democratic establishment, the black Democratic establishment vote, those people who buy into brand identity. He was never going to get that. And I think his mistake was trying to get that vote instead of completely ignoring that vote and going after the black left, the Glenn Ford crowd, the Bruce Dixon, the Eddie Glaude, the Cornel West, and the Michelle Alexander crowd. Bernie Sanders, not Bernie Sanders, but the Democratic Party. That's what I want to know. I want to know where or how did the Democratic Party lose you, and not necessarily what are you going to do in the fall. I'm at the point where you follow your own instinct. You do what's best for you. You do what's best for because one thing I like, and I'm going to take this next caller, and one thing I like of what Eddie Glaude said, this fear of Donald Trump. Listen, Donald Trump is America's problem. Donald Trump should not be the sole problem of progressives, and he should not be the sole problem of black Americans. He shouldn't. It should not be our responsibility to sacrifice what we believe in to try to fight off Donald Trump. That should have been the job of the Democratic Party. So I want to know, how did the Democratic Party lose you, or if they lost you? Maybe you're still with the Democratic Party, and explain and help us to understand why you are. Why are you still solidly aligned with the Democratic Party? What's the primary issue for you, and are they still representing that? 857-600 0518. Caller, you are live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
Is this me?
That's you. You're live, my friend. Who is this?
Umar from Brooklyn.
Umar from Brooklyn, man. Long time no hear, man. How's everything going?
It's going. So I wanted to do this quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Where things lose me is, and it's on the progressive side, not on the Democratic leadership side.
Okay.
There's the progressives who support Hillary. Now, I had two disagreements with Hillary supporters. One, a guy, I'm like, okay, cool. You said your case. You understand the thing, but you said Trump. Okay, I got you. The other one is one who claims that they're sociologists. They're researchers. They do shows where they debate with sexists and anti-LGBT people, and they bring these facts and figures until Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
They are pushing the Bernie boys. They're posting now the screenshots. I'm not going to argue with, because my argument is, if you idiots going to make those statements, you are complicit in them pushing forward the Bernie boys thing, the Bernie bros thing.
Yeah.
But she did not equally go and research the stuff that, okay, this is what we have disagreement with Hillary. Dismisses that completely.
Mm-hmm.
But Hillary's people do it. Dismisses that completely.
Mm.
And that what loses me, because I'm saying, if you're about truth, if you go both sides, and you're saying, if you said to me, I see both sides, but I prefer to support, okay, I'm with you. But they are actively ignoring.
Yeah.
Just exactly how, I don't remember the chairman in the convention is, just exactly how she actively ignored that the voice votes.
Yep.
They're active, and that's what loses me, because I don't understand. I'm with the young man you have on sometimes. I think his name is Nick.
Yep. Nick
You
Nolan.
say you're a progressive. You say you want to change. Yet you are supporting what people are clearly saying this woman does not change.
Yep.
And I'm going to leave it at that. That's the part that starts losing me because I'm shocked because it's like watching you do concise, good videos and podcasts and blog posts about everything else. Then when it comes to Hillary, you cut off right at the facts of whatever the media feeds you, and I don't get how you do that in this case. I'm going to leave it at that.
Thanks a lot, Umar, for the
taking my
call. Absolutely, man. Thank you for calling in. 857-600-0518. I have to confess, that is absolutely one of the things that drives me crazy in this election. Their inability to apply their same analytical prowess to Hillary Clinton and their unwillingness, right? They're just completely unwilling to do it. And you have to understand, it's not for me. And listen, I'm respecting each and every one of you, your decision, even if your decision is Hillary Clinton, even if your decision is for Hillary Clinton for a reason that doesn't make any sense to me, I'm going to respect your freedom to make that decision. So that being said, I expect you to respect mine too. For me, this is not about Hillary Clinton, for me, because I know who Hillary Clinton is. She's the devil that I know. I know exactly what she's going to do when she gets in office. I know for a fact that we're going to have TPP when she gets in office. I know for a fact we're going to have fracking when she gets in office. I know for a fact she's going to pass regulations that are favorable to Wall Street, even if those regulations are detrimental to the working class, to labor, and to African Americans. I know for a fact that racism ain't going to change one iota underneath Hillary Clinton, despite all of her speeches. I know for a fact that everything, give or take a margin of error, give or take a standard deviation, one standard deviation, everything is going to be pretty much the damn same way it is right now. I know student loans are still going to be a problem. I know that child care is still going to be a major problem. I know that the income inequality is still going to be a major problem. Moving up the Gini coefficient is still going to be a problem here in the United States. I know exactly what Hillary Clinton is going to do because we've seen it done in Barack Obama. We've seen it done in George W. Bush, with the exception of him getting us into the Iraq War. Thank you, Hillary Clinton. You know, there's some standard deviations away from the normal that each president takes. But the normal track that we are on, the steady, consistent trajectory that we are on, dictates that the things that I outlined are going to be the same with Hillary Clinton. So to that end, it is not about Hillary Clinton. It's about our willingness to ignore that simple truth that I just outlined for you. Our willingness to act as though we expect some progressive revolution with Hillary Clinton, and what Hillary Clinton is going to do is just as good as what Bernie Sanders is going to do. What Hillary Clinton is going to do for the black community is just as good as what Martin Luther King would do for the black community. This false expectation, these jaded lenses through which, are these rose-shaded lenses through which we view Hillary Clinton, when the reality of it is the best thing you could say about Hillary Clinton is that not a damn thing is going to change if she gets elected. That's the best thing that you could say objectively. And if she proves me wrong, you know me, I ain't got not one single problem biting my tongue, eating crow, and taking my foot out of my mouth, or sticking it in for that matter. But if you want to make a bet with me right now, in 8 years of Hillary Clinton, we would not have moved one statistically significant inch away from where we are right now. Even economic growth is going to be about the same. All right, caller. So it's not about Hillary Clinton. It's about the people who are willing to redefine. I said all that to say this. It's about the people who are willing to redefine their values to fit Hillary Clinton instead of being sober about who she really is. Just like we should have been sober about who Barack Obama is. Just like we should be sober about the things that Bernie Sanders probably can and cannot accomplish out of his economic and political revolution, right? But somehow we put down our analytical lenses when we talk about Hillary Clinton. Caller, you are live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
Hey, Ben. Hey, Ben, this is Bryce. How's everything?
Everything's great, Bryce. Thanks for the call. Thanks for calling in, man. What's on your mind?
Well, I was listening to Young Turks earlier, and he was talking about Nevada and how CNN and the media and the establishment is just so broad, so controlled. And basically, they talk about Bernie this and Bernie that. And they're so pissed because Bernie destroyed MSNBC and others, about about a week ago, and just calling them out. And CNN is so corrupt, and they turn around, they're mad because Larry Wilmore destroyed them, so they cut ties with Larry Wilmore to do an interview. And it's just astonishing. It's just like, what's the purpose? What is the big picture of the money? And, I guess they feel, well, Hillary Clinton, when Bill was president in the 90s, the economy, I guess, was running right, and people were making money, and things were happening. But it was still an economic paradigm that still was a problem. So what does it matter? Now, I understand what you're saying about that you probably will vote for Hillary just to avoid Trump.
I don't know if I exactly said that, but I said
Okay,
I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do, to be honest with you. Go ahead. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but go ahead.
Because I'm not really Bernie or bust, but man, I can't rock with Hillary. I just can't. But I don't want Trump. But it's just, I'll lead the country if I had to. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I would slightly settle for Hillary, just because even though it's a status quo, it's not like Trump. Like we know Trump, which is all over the place.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But it's still time. I still believe Bernie can get it done.
You're in Florida, right?
No, in Philadelphia, Philly.
Oh, but you're a Miami Heat fan.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. No, I thought you were in Florida because I was going to say that's a swing state, so you got a huge decision to make, and if I'm not mistaken, you got a huge decision to make anyway in Philly. So, good luck with that decision, man. I appreciate the call.
I will.
If I can unpack that a little bit, hey, if you decide to vote for Hillary, that's your prerogative, man. Do it. Do that, because one thing the thing that bothers me the most is somebody trying to dictate my moves for me. And I'm telling you, I've lost friends over that. That's the thing. I haven't lost family members over that, but I definitely get my family straight when they try to dictate my moves for me. Right? That's like, it's my autonomy. It's my free will. It's my ability to make a decision. So I cherish that for myself. So if you're going to vote for Hillary, any of you, that's your prerogative. Do it. If you think voting for Hillary is better than voting for Trump, I think most people would agree that that's rational and that's reasonable. But then other people are not going to be able to make that choice simply because of how opposed they are to Hillary Clinton. So people have their own calculus, and I support whatever your calculus is. For me, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll see when I get in the voting booth. I am lucky. I'm privileged enough to be in a state where it doesn't matter what I do. I can get 10,000 people to vote for Trump if I wanted to, and it wouldn't make a difference here in Massachusetts. I'm not going to do that because I'm definitely ain't on board with Trump. So 857-600. I mean, and seriously, like, the shit that Donald Trump is fostering here is if Donald Trump, I'm going to say this. Here's my conspiracy theory for the corner, because I don't entertain them much. Here's my conspiracy theory. If Donald Trump in this general election, if he goes up against Hillary, if Donald Trump does not move back to the left, to the center, and does not moderate his tone, then I think Donald Trump was sent expressly to help Hillary Clinton win, because it just makes no political sense whatsoever for him to stay extremely stupid like he's been all this time. It makes no sense whatsoever. All right, caller, you're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question? This is you, 601. You're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
Oh, I'm sorry. I lost signal for a second. This is John from Mississippi.
John, my dude from Mississippi. How's it going down there?
Oh, it's going pretty bad, considering the state of our politics. But I'm trying not to talk about that right now.
All right. So tell me what's on your mind, man.
I was never a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this election presented them with an opportunity to win people like me.
Yep.
And I'll be honest, a lot of it had to do not so much with how they treated Bernie Sanders individually or his campaign and all that mess, but how they treated his message.
Yeah, man.
You know,
Talk about it.
And they've lost me.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Because Hillary Clinton, and because I have a lot of Hillary friends, you know, I run in liberal circles and conservative circles, but I know a lot of Clinton fans, diehard Clinton fans, and basically she, with the approval of the DNC, in order to win, have convinced a good chunk of their followers that money is not a corrupting influence in politics.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't jive with that, man. That is just insane.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point?
Your guess is good as mine, John, man. I think you said it best, man. Thanks for the call. You know, the reality is that if it corrupts one person, it can corrupt everyone. I think that was the biggest slap in the face to me when everyone started justifying the method through which Hillary Clinton is raising money. That she's using methods that the Republican Party wasn't even using. Right? She clearly. Anyway, the point is, if you believe that money can corrupt Republican politicians, and you do not believe that money can corrupt Hillary Clinton, then there's something seriously wrong with your relationship to Hillary Clinton. There's something troubling about that relationship. 857-600-0518. Caller, you are live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question? Yep.
Hello?
Caller. Yep, this is you. You're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
Hey. I'm John Smith.
Okay, John Smith.
I'm a delegate candidate for Bernie Sanders. And I'm venting here. I just spent 4 hours on a line calling, trying to get elected for my district. And I know that, you know, they say that there's some angry Bernie supporters out there, but try talking to an angry Hillary supporter. I just got lectured for 3.5 hours by some irate Hillary supporters from North Carolina who I was dropping fact bombs on left and right. And they refused to listen to reason. And I have a feeling that I'm going to get to that convention, which is coming up soon for me, and I'm going to be faced with a large number of hostile Clinton supporters who are basically going to try to either convince me to go Hillary, or who will be getting Bernie supporters who will at some point lean toward Hillary.
Yep.
And you know, I'm losing steam here because the one thing that they don't understand is the majority, and I dropped some facts on them left and right. The one thing they don't understand is that independents are the largest voting bloc, and they are supporting Bernie Sanders more than they're supporting Hillary Clinton. And I really am puzzled by why they think that Hillary is the most qualified candidate. I was getting out left and right tonight when I was making calls.
Yeah, I mean, it really, it's a troubling. It's hard to wrap our heads around. You know, it's difficult to understand why they are either just unwilling, or incapable of seeing the discrepancies, seeing the, you know. And hey, listen, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate the call. I want to say this. It's not. The one thing I want to say is, as we have this conversation, the most important thing to me, for you as a listener, follower, person who's checking me out for the first time, to never go underneath the impression that your side is perfect. Never go under the impression that your side is perfect, because that's exactly what they are suffering from, right? It's our inability to admit that we could be wrong. That is actually a very big problem, and that's what opens the door for people to believe that they've got nothing possibly wrong with them. Caller, you're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question? Caller, this is you. Caller, you are live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
My name is Alvin. My
Hey, what's on
comment is specifically regarding the democratic process and the Democratic handling of this election.
Yeah. Tell me what's on your mind.
So, Benjamin, what I see in this election is the wool being pulled from people's eyes, where you actually see that there is no true democracy right now.
Mm-hmm. Keep going. Yeah, I'm listening, man.
The DNC has got a very slanted chair who is biased against the Sanders campaign effort based on the fact that we see how she has pretty much gone out to the media, tried to impugn Bernie Sanders' campaign in lieu of her support for Hillary Clinton. I don't even see why nobody's paying attention to the fact that her vice chair actually resigned out of protest, I'm sure, because of her actions. She was and is a Clinton shill, and people see this. What's happening right now in Nevada is pretty much the epicenter of what the Bernie Sanders campaign is advocating for, which is the removal of establishment politics and actually advocating for the average voter.
Yep, I agree. I agree with you 100%. Listen, dude, thanks so much for that call. We're actually going to have that conversation now with Michael Brooks from the Majority Report. He's going to join the conversation, and I want to talk about what's happening in Nevada. I want to talk about the fact that not only what happened, but the fallout. I want to talk about the fallout and how Debbie Wasserman Schultz, as the party chair, took sides in this instead of doing what Van Jones talked about. Instead of being a mediator, she came in and clearly took sides in this, right? And that changes the entire dynamic and exposes what people have been suspicious of all along. And that suspicion was that it is the party. And this is evident not just with let me not just be indict Debbie Wasserman Schultz, but the who else needs to be indicted is the state parties. The state parties that not only did we have the suspicion that they were in the tank for Hillary Clinton, but their actions actually demonstrated that. Their actions demonstrated that they were in the tank for Hillary Clinton, and they just confirmed our suspicion. That's what happened. And so with Debbie Wasserman Schultz, she simply proved that in my opinion, she proved that what we have been suspecting, that she is incapable of being a fair moderator, right? A person that can be a true arbiter of who's right or who's wrong, and outline the culpability that everyone had in Nevada. Instead of doing that, she came down on Bernie Sanders on MSNBC last night. Okay, folks, I've been joined by, excuse me, I've been joined by Michael Brooks. I need a tea or something. Michael Brooks of the Majority Report and Two Dope Boys and a podcast. Mike, how's it going, man?
It's great, man. Pleasure to be talking with you. Are you just talking about The View or something?
Oh, no. No, I was talking about
I'm just messing with you.
I'm talking about something in my throat, man. I got some I need a coffee or something. But anyway, dude, I want to talk to you briefly, man. I know you've got to get on the road, but I want to talk to you about what happened in Nevada. and not the mechanics of it, because we've kind of covered the mechanics of it ad nauseum on the show. I've had a couple of guests come on and explain it in great detail, but really the fallout. Right, the fallout and the behavior, and hold on, Bernie Sanders folks, because I'm going to talk to you about the behavior portion after this. But the behavior of some Bernie Sanders supporters there, but clearly the actions of the chair, in my opinion, and then Debbie Wasserman Schultz wading in, and instead of being an arbiter of the conversation, she took a side in the conversation. What are your thoughts on that, and what are some of the observations you guys have made on that?
Well, three quick things. But first of all, you got to start every conversation that involves Debbie Wasserman Schultz by acknowledging that she's the absolute worst. So that's just number one. That's always up front. Debbie Wasserman Schultz is the worst in every possible way. The other important points are, I think, and this is a tricky point, so I want to kind of break it down subtly here.
Okay.
People should not be, no matter how angry they are about various points of this process, there's two things that I think we need to be, or actually three things. Two things we need to be real about, one thing that's interesting to me, and we'll see how it plays out. One is that in spite of all of the bullshit and all of the unfairness and all of the rigging and the machine and everything else that's definitely there, Hillary is ahead of Bernie, and that's real. Right. And it's not, that's not untrue. Now, the other thing to take away from this is that this dude starts as an unbelievable underdog. So the takeaway from this election is a 75-year-old Democratic Socialist has won 20 states and is the future of American politics, and not Hillary Clinton. And there's momentum here. This should not be a time of resignation and depression. It can be anger, it can be rage, it can be organizing for the future, but this is a time of enormous political possibility and necessity in this country, because we all know how horrible and unsustainable things are.
Right.
Number three, I am concerned about the Bernie Sanders campaign turning into a question and a focus on process. I wanted to get back into the big issues that have driven this movement to begin with. Now, that's my criticism. On the flip side, what I think is possibly good here is that if some of this is coming from the top of the Sanders campaign, and this is the strategy they're pursuing, I think in the short term, it's not as inspiring and as important as I think is maybe talking about, inequality, climate, and all the issues that have kind of animated the campaign. But on the other hand, if what they are doing is showing to the Clinton campaign and to the machine that they have a weaponized base, and I use that word advisedly, and I think we all know that obviously there should be no physical violence or threats of physical violence or anything like that.
Yeah.
But if the main point is I have a movement of people who I can activate at any time to call you on your bullshit and stop your nonsense, that is profoundly important, because we need to make sure that, we can have all these, debates about the general election and this or that. That's fine. But this isn't, if Bernie Sanders moves towards a kind of cursory support of Hillary Clinton, which I think, I'll be in the cursory support camp, but it is very important to say, like, this is a friendly fire that you'll get the whole time. And part of that is showing that I have millions of people who I can activate at any time. And if it's complaining about, a delegate process in Nevada, it can be just as activated during any step in the campaign, when you flip on TPP, when you try to do a fake center on a criminal bill, on crime, and certainly if you're in office and you pursue the kind of agenda that we all know she's going to pursue. Right. So that's actually very, very important.
I like that. Let me jump in there. I like the fact that you're saying that that they should be afraid. Who said that? Eddie Glaude. And when I say afraid, I mean politically afraid, not afraid for their lives. Afraid. Right. Eddie Glaude.
That's like Nas said after he put out Ether. He said, "We're not talking about killing anybody. I'm just saying Jay-Z is whack rapper." That's all we're saying.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
That might have gone. I think my audience got that. I'm pretty sure half of my audience got that.
That's dope. That is, I guess that's on the Dope Boys portfolio. But I hope everybody got that.
Yeah, I hope everybody got that too. But But Professor Eddie Glaude, I know you guys had him on the Majority Report. I was jealous. I'm like, I got to get him on my show. That's why
He's amazing. Yeah, I'm so glad you got him.
But he said that we have to scare them to the core, scare the Democratic Party to the core. And if Bernie Sanders is able to rally his base to be that type of effective political bargaining tool and that political watchdog almost for policies present and future, then that is actually something positive. You're right. That's something positive that can come out of this past weekend. Go ahead. Tell me more, man.
No, I think that's really exactly it. And I think this is the zone that we need to be talking in. The choice of either, a Bernie or bust thing, which I just don't see as strategic. I've heard a lot of, very compelling emotional and moral arguments for that, but I haven't heard a smart political strategic argument for that. But I've also, on the flip side, this whole let's just have party unity. Well, no, because we don't have unity. And this isn't personal. This is just that we are in politics to do different things. I'm in politics because of probably at its base economic justice. I mean, a variety of other things, but that's probably what animates me to my core. So it's a different mission. And I know people personally, including very directly in my own family, when I was, like a kid, who were impacted by things like, welfare reform and stuff like that. So this isn't just like some abstraction. These are very real things, and we're here to do different things. And we can ally and work on different things. And if Hillary Clinton wants to, raise the minimum wage, or if she wants to support something like the Medicare buy-in, or something like that, which she's talked about, or if she wants to advocate for children, excellent. I'll be her top ally. I have no personal hatred or animus towards her. But we don't have unity. This is not a unified project.
No,
and whether
not at all.
You vote for her or you don't. This is a division, and that does not end with this election. It gets sharpened and deepened, because ultimately what we need to do in American politics is totally marginalize the right and have a fight for the future between actual progressives and the neoliberals. That's where the battle terrain is, and that's going to determine.
Let me jump in there and ask you this question, because
please.
in my mind, originally, before I would say 4 months ago, in my mind, marginalizing the right and making them essentially irrelevant to the national political conversation through Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump is helping us do that. So thank you, Donald Trump. Doing that, I felt that would do
He's
exactly.
doing a tremendous job.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is the best job he's ever done in his ever best life. You know how he talks. But with him doing that, you have you're left with Hillary Clinton, and there's the fear. There's two schools of thoughts. You have those progressives who believe that Hillary Clinton getting into power would be the death knell for progressivism, because of her co-opting the name progressive, the word progressive, and really putting the end to the DLC process, right? The DLC momentum and movement and project really was there to redefine what it was to be a Democrat. And now this last portion of it is redefining what it is to even be a progressive. And there's a lot of people who would disagree with you and say that it is not going to do anything but destroy progressivism to get Hillary Clinton. Now, originally, I agree with you. I felt that even with a Hillary Clinton in office, that we would be able to continuously every single day fight her from the left as progressives. But what do you say to that other argument that says, no, with Hillary Clinton in power, she's going to crush progressives, co-opt progressives, and essentially end the progressive movement?
Well, I think that's maybe affording her a little too much power, frankly. But I think, look, here's my thing, and I guess there's 3 quick points on this. First of all, we got to look at these things a little bit beyond just the individual person that's in power. So as an example, the things that Bill Clinton was able to do in the 1990s in terms of moving the Democratic Party very radically to the right, there was a context for that. I mean, the left was incredibly marginalized at that point in American politics. The stock market was booming, and there was a very broad appetite, wrongly, but a broad appetite for what he was doing. So I think that we got to recognize that the context has changed. When you have a governor like Andrew Cuomo, who is the worst, and I'll add him to the Debbie Wasserman Schultz level, truly like a pro-marriage equality Republican with tremendous corporate attitude. He banned fracking in New York. He signed $15 minimum wage, and he signed family medical leave because that's the nature of the institution he's accountable to on some level. So we got to look at the context of the parties right now. Number two, I actually think, and this is where I'll contradict myself a little bit, this is where the personality actually does matter. I think, frankly, as much, and I've made this distinction with a lot of people, and I know we've talked about it, Barack Obama as a leader and as a person just holding that office is, in my opinion, an enormously appealing and engaging and, person who I have a lot of admiration for. But, policy-wise, he's a neoliberal dude, and I'm not a neoliberal guy. And, I think that the fact that a lot of people have a innate trust and like for Barack Obama has actually, in some ways, it's softened. It's like, well, can TPP really be that bad? Because, Barack's a good dude. There's going to be none of that with Hillary Clinton, okay? Like, no one outside, I guess apparently there's some people on Twitter who are
Here's where it's already happened. It's already happened amongst her supporters, right? Her base that is pushing
her supporters are insane. Her supporters are nuts. Her supporters. I mean, I'm not talking about like normal people out voting. I'm not commenting on that. But her people on social media and everything else have been in a hermetically sealed bubble and drinking the Kool-Aid from day one. And I think that we have to just accept that. There's obviously some. And again,
I heard you say that the other day when I was on your show. You said you're separating the online presence of Hillary Clinton from voters who probably have no idea what's happening on social media and the blogosphere. And so you believe that the people who are just rank and file going to vote and paying no attention, you don't believe that they would go along with the TPP just like her supporters online would go.
Oh, I would make a little bit of a distinction. I was trying to say, actually, frankly, for all supporters, I think we need to be like, because just most people, regardless of how much they follow politics or how they engage, are not doing stuff on social media around politics, right? So it's important to just kind of keep that perspective in mind.
Yeah.
I think that, generally, I think that that kind of explanation applies actually more to progressives who are pretty engaged, who might give, Hillary Clinton less of the benefit of the doubt than Barack Obama. I know some people like this. I know some people who I would describe as kind of mainstream, sort of liberalish Democrats, but they are pretty good on things like TPP, and they have much less innate trust for Barack Obama.
Yeah.
I think for most people who voted for Hillary Clinton, it's, it's name recognition, it's path of least resistance. And, I don't know. I think, honestly, activating those people is a broader project that we're all involved in. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be dependent on election cycle. The last thing I would just say, too, is like, my political maturation happened under George W. Bush. I wasn't old enough to vote yet, but I was absolutely 100% convinced as like a World Bank protesting teenager that Ralph Nader, anybody who wasn't voting for Ralph Nader was, plugged into the matrix and stupid at best and morally deranged at worst, and that there was no difference between Al Gore and George W. Bush. And the thing is that I don't go back to that time and blame Ralph Nader. Ralph Nader was still he's pretty much right about everything. And Gore at that time was not the guy who people know today. He was actually pretty terrible.
Yeah.
But I then saw, George W. Bush take it to another level. And then all of a sudden, politics became hijacked by, oh my God. Now all of a sudden, people like me and people like you, we got to kind of align with the whack people to just stop complete disasters. And I got to say, like, just on the trade front, everybody points out that Obama has a bad record on trade. Hillary's obviously going to flip on TPP. Things are so bad under Bush that we don't even remember the fact that he pushed through things like CAFTA in the Caribbean and stuff. Yeah. Because it's like there's such a cascade of disasters. Yeah. You can't even keep track of that shit. So it's a gamble. Maybe under a Republican, Maybe there's a revitalized progressive movement. Maybe Donald Trump randomly does some good things. But to me, it's like I'm willing to make gambles and risks in my personal life, which maybe I shouldn't say publicly. But I'm just saying, I think, when you go to an electoral standpoint, it's too many hypotheticals for me. And again, if there was a strategy, if someone was like, look, we got to run a third-party candidate, and they're going to do X, Y, and Z, and this is, maybe Hillary's going to lose, but it will lead to this, and it was a real argument.
Yeah.
But all I hear is hypotheticals, and nothing changes the fact that everything just needs to keep going as it is in terms of pushing this agenda. And if you think it's going to get, bludgeoned under Hillary Clinton, it's going to, by definition, get bludgeoned under any Republican. And I think maybe close that space where at least, because in 3 years, man, under a Republican, you could have these depressing conversations with people like, oh, man, I wish we had Hillary Clinton, versus for 3 years being like, oh, my God, this is fucking ridiculous. Why didn't we elect Bernie Sanders?
Yeah. So,
you know what I'm saying?
Hey, man. Hey, what's going on this weekend, man? Where are we linking up at? Where am I meeting yet?
Oh, dude, you're gonna come into Brooklyn, and I got some bars I got to show you, and some people. I want you to hopefully meet Phil as well. You got to meet my two dope boys, co-conspirator, and some other good New York people. And I just got to say, man, I always like everybody involved in Benjamin Dixon's show, like the people that I connect with on Twitter, and your co-hosts and everybody. Like, you're all doing really, I mean, I'll talk like Trump. Y'all are doing a tremendous job, and look, frankly, it's great. From a really self-interested standpoint, as a comedian, I'm considering voting for Trump, but that's a whole other thing.
Dude, let me tell you, it would be good for our business, for liberal media and comedians. It would be great. Hey, Michael Brooks from the Majority Report.
And as I say that, everybody burning your bus. Trump, baby. Let's do this. Let's grow our businesses.
There we go. Hey, man, thanks for joining me. Michael Brooks from the Majority Report and Two Dope Boys in the podcast. Hey, man, I'll see you in New York.
All right, see you soon. Right, thanks, man.
857-600-0518. I'm going to be in New York on this weekend for the Left Forum. I'll be joining a panel with Nomiki Konst. I hope I pronounced it right. I'm horrible with names. David Packman will be there. Sam Cedar will be discussing the left media from a left perspective. So I'll be in New York, probably. I don't know. I may say the whole weekend. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I don't know if I'm going to fly or catch a train. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I know I'll be there Friday afternoon for the panel at about 5 o'clock, I think. I think it's at 5. But either way it goes. If you're in New York, come see us over at the Left Forum. Go to leftforum.org or .com. It's one of those. Just look up the Left Forum. As you can tell, I'm not making an official plug. I'm just telling you off the top of my head. That's where we'll be. All right, 857-600-0518. Get in on the conversation. What do you think about what Michael Brooks just said? It's what is a strategy? Anything. I mean, tonight's conversation really is about I have zero loyalty to the Democratic Party. And I think that's the way it should be. I think the proper relationship we should have with political parties is, what are you going to do for us? What are you going to do for America as a whole? Sure. But what are you going to do for us? What are you going to do for my identity? What are you going to do for my economic class? What are you going to do for us? What are you going to do? It just dawned on me, right? And I'm lying. It didn't just dawn on me, but it's just sitting in the back of my head as a constant reminder that as soon as I'm done with this degree that I'm working on this last degree, this is the last bit of schooling I'm going to. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to have about $700 or $800 a month just in student loan repayments. Yeah. So, and it's this idea that has been promulgated by Democrats and Republicans alike, that you should educate your way out of poverty, educate your way to the top, and then get saddled with $150,000 in student loan debt, and then can't get but a $60,000 job with a PhD. Right? It's this framework, and so now not only do I have issues that affect the black community, not only do I have issues that affect the middle class and issues that affect the working class and those in poverty, because I have some friends in the working class and I have some friends who are, who are struggling, right? So not only do I have that, but I also have issues and I have problems. I'm in a new class of people. I'm in a class of people who have over $100,000 in student loan debt. And we have a particular set of needs. So if your party is not addressing those needs expressly, like if you got 5 things that you need addressed and they ain't addressing but one, why the hell would you support them? Why the hell would you have loyalty towards them? And so just write down, what are your top 5 issues? And does this candidate address the majority of them? 3 or more. 3 or more. If they don't address 3 or more, you don't owe them anything at all. Should we be afraid of Donald Trump? That's up for you to decide. I'm not afraid of a President Donald Trump. I'm not. Man, that Uber ride cost me $13. Just got my notification. I'm not afraid of a President Donald Trump. Because one, I live with race. I live with racism every day. It's nothing new. These people are here. This is a sleight of hand that Democrats are using with Donald Trump, right? Be afraid of Donald Trump because he's a racist. No shit, Sherlock. These racist people have been here all along, and they're not going anywhere. Well, Donald Trump is going to empower them. No, they got empowered with Barack Obama in office. They came out and this is legit, right? This is not something I'm making up. The enrollment in white supremacist organizations and hate groups skyrocketed underneath Barack Obama. So if you're worried about racism, it was already here. If you're worried about racists being empowered, they were already empowered underneath Barack Obama. So why are you allowing them to use that as something over your head to say, oh, he's a racist, so stay away from him, and then come in over here and endorse and support this neoliberal economic paradigm? Now, I'm not telling you to not vote for Hillary Clinton. I'm not telling you. I'm just having a conversation. That's it. That's all we're doing here. We're just talking. 857-600-0518. I don't care what you do, to be honest with you. I just care that you stay engaged today and that you stay engaged after this election, because what's most important is what progressive people do after this election, whether it's a President Donald Trump, President Hillary Clinton, or President Bernie Sanders. You have to stay engaged after this election, and you have to put fire underneath them to make sure, and when I say them, I mean every party, to make sure that they are being loyal to what's important to you. Forget this notion. Absolutely forget this notion that you should sacrifice what's important to you on behalf of the greater good of a damn political party. Does that make any sense to anybody? All right. Well, the phone lines were open, and we have about 3 minutes left, so just as good a time as any for me to buzz up my next ride and get ready to end the night. So because I haven't done it, I should do it here. Support the Benjamin Dixon Show. Click on that subscribe button at the bottom. Make sure you subscribe. Everybody go get like 3 people to subscribe. Right? Let's do that. And then if everybody who's watching tonight would go to patreon.com/the BPD show and support the Benjamin Dixon Show, and do it with, support with $1 a month. $1 a month, or support with $5 a month. Whatever you can support, whatever you can do, we appreciate it. I want to thank Claude W for becoming my latest patron on Patreon. And yesterday I gave a shout out to Alex being a new patron on Patreon. I want to thank Jessica for being a new patron on Patreon. I want to thank David for becoming a patron on Patreon. I thank you. I appreciate it. I want to thank Stephanie for becoming a patron on Patreon. And I also want to thank, there was one more in here. I gotta find it. I should have these ready, right? Here we go. Who's the last one? TJ. TJ, thank you for becoming a patron on Patreon. You can support the show. We really do need your support to help us to continue to do the things we do. I want to get a production assistant. I want to get somebody who can sit behind this desk and do this while I actually just talk to you guys. So if I'm doing an okay job while managing all the buttons and stuff and you're enjoying the content, then imagine the job that I'll do with a production assistant. So the more you contribute, the more we can grow the show. Tomorrow night, the Project Sanity. If I'm not mistaken, somebody tell me in the live production room, Project Sanity tomorrow night, and I'll be back here at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I think that is a wrap. Check the comments for comments. Brand new Congress. I like this. David said, I kind of don't care about Bernie or bust. I want a brand new Congress. I want a brand new Congress too. Go to brandnewcongress.com. Google brand new Congress and take a look at what they are doing. Thank you. I owe David. David, I don't drink, but when we get to New York, David, I'm buying you a beer. Tomorrow night, I'm joined by the phenomenal Matt Brunick of mattbrunick.com and demos.com. We're going to be discussing this election in the context of some of his writings. If you ever read him, he's a prolific writer. You know Matt Brunick. So he'll be here on the show tomorrow night. Excited about that. Make sure you tell your neighbor, tell your friends. Tune into the Benjamin Dixon Show. I think this is as good a spot as any to hit this button. Let's see if this works.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible.
No, wrong button. One more time. Here we go.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog, join the Progressive Army, and support The Benjamin Dixon Show. It's Ben Dixon! If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Consider becoming a Patreon. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.
Hey, what do y'all think about, let me play that one more time. I know the show's over.
The Benjamin Dixon.
Not that. Listen to what the young woman says here. Not that. Come on.
The Benjamin Dixon Show with listener support.
Yeah, that
Go to
right here.
www.benjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog,
Yeah,
join
no.
the Progressive Army,
Right.
and support the Benjamin Dixon Show. It's Ben Dixon!
Right there. Who the F is Ben Dixon? I think I'm going to put that on a damn t-shirt. Who the F is BenDixon.com. All right, folks, y'all have a good night. I'll see you next time.